After funding my parents' bills for 7 straight years without any help, my brother had the nerve to say, "You don't deserve any credit. It was your duty anyway." After covering my parents' expenses for 7 years, my brother remarked, "You don't even have children." So, I stopped supporting them and booked a flight to Spain. I left work early, skipped the company dinner, and took a $540 flight on Christmas Eve. My seat had a sticky note for Troy's fiancée. "She's new here," my mother explained. "We thought you'd be fine standing." I simply said, "Okay." Then I collected my bags and departed. My sister texted 31 minutes later, "So sensitive." It wasn't a big deal. I opened my app and paused family support. But what my father said at 9:04 p.m. altered everything. I flew across the country for this? A one-way ticket costs $540. I departed the office at midday, bypassed the corporate bonus gathering, crammed everything into a duffel, and hurried to the airport because family was important. Because I still felt that being present mattered. I hadn't seen them in person since the previous Christmas. We'd managed the group video calls, birthday messages, and miss you too emojis. But this year I was heading home. I pictured the aroma of baked ham, how my mother invariably overcooked the initial batch of cookies, and how my father pretended not to shed tears during midnight prayer. I imagined settling at the table. It turned out the spot was literally taken. I stepped into the dining room, snow still melting in my hair, clutching a somewhat damp gift bag containing Dad's preferred whiskey, and immediately noticed the small pink sticky note on the back of a dining chair, reserved for Troy's fiancé. That was all. No joke, no gotcha. Just those 5 words in my mom's handwriting. I stood there, narrowing my eyes at the note, as if it might vanish if I stared hard enough. "Oh," my mom replied, entering the kitchen with her usual smile, as though I hadn't traveled 3 time zones for dinner. "She's new here," she clarified with a shrug. "We assumed you'd be fine standing." Standing? Like a server? Or worse? I felt out of place. I murmured, "Sure." Automatically. Then I turned, retrieved my luggage, and left. I drove 31 minutes down the icy road before my phone rang. "So sensitive." "It wasn't a big deal," my sister said. "Not even my name, just that." I gazed at the message, heart pounding, thumb hovering over the reply button. Then I accessed my banking application and halted the family transfers. Done. But what my father said at 9:04 p.m. changed everything. It wasn't just a sticky note. Not really. That was merely a spark. The gas had been leaking for years. I didn't drive back to the motel. I parked at a gas station down the road, watched the snow pile up on my windshield, and cranked the heater until my ears ached. Then I began to think. The truth is, I've always been the one to make things easy for them. When I landed my first IT job, Dad exclaimed, "Now you can finally provide for your family." He wasn't joking. That implied, start paying the bills. So I did. I started covering their internet, car insurance, and even their winter heating quietly, automatically, because that's what good sons do, right? Troy was a dreamer, dropped out of college, spent 2 years couch surfing and finding himself. When he returned broke and bruised from a failed ski venture, I let him live with me for 9 months, rent-free. I even paid for the therapy sessions he claimed would help him focus. When Mom had dental surgery last year, guess who paid the $3,400 bill not covered by insurance? Me. When Dad's old Ford broke down, and he needed reliable transport to church, who co-signed the lease for a new one? Me. I've never complained, never brought it up, even when I had to cancel vacations, even when I was eating peanut butter for lunch and wiring money for someone else's cable bill. So when my sister texted "so sensitive," I wanted to throw my phone in the snow. I didn't. Instead, I accessed our family group chat, scrolled through months of conversations, and noticed a pattern. Every time I shared a success, a promotion, a work trip, or a raise, I received 1 or 2 positive responses. Meanwhile, Troy's new girlfriend is baking cookies. 27 comments, 3 heart emojis, and Mom's message, "She's such a keeper." It didn't end there. Last July, I flew up to surprise Mom on her birthday. I arrived at midnight, slept on the couch because Troy had temporarily claimed my old room, and woke to find them gone. They had taken Troy's fiancée, his then-girlfriend, to a wine tasting. I found a note on the fridge that said, "Be back by 5. Make yourself comfy." They didn't even save me a slice of cake. Yet, I still paid the next month's gas bill because that's what I was taught to do. Provide, be the stable one, the invisible one. Troy could walk in with debt, poor credit, and a woman he'd met 3 months ago, and they would move mountains to accommodate her, including giving her my chair. That sticky note wasn't merely a seating arrangement. It was a statement. You are no longer needed. So, I made a few calls. I canceled my automatic transfers. I informed the accountant I would halt the family trust donations I'd been making for years because Dad preferred a retirement plan that didn't involve the IRS. Then, for the first time in years, I acted entirely selfishly. I got Thai takeout very spicy and sat in that hotel room alone with my laptop open and Netflix playing. And for once, I felt nothing but clarity. Until 9:04 p.m. That's when Dad called. I stared at the screen for a moment, considering whether to answer. My finger hovered, then tapped. "Hey," I said flatly. There was a pause. The kind that's full of meaning. "You've left," he said. "Sure did. Your mom's upset. She's also the one who gave my chair away." Another pause, longer this time. "She didn't mean anything by it." "Sure. Let's say she didn't. What about Troy texting me 2 hours ago asking if I could help fund their wedding next summer?" Silence. "Right," I replied. "You didn't know that part." Dad exhaled. Deep, heavy, and familiar. "You know how things are. Troy isn't as fortunate as you." "Fortunate?" I asked, laughing. "No, Dad. Troy's recklessness. I'm responsible. There's a difference. He's getting better. She's good for him. She's sitting in my chair. Don't be dramatic." So there it was. The golden phrase. They always use this one when I dare to speak up. I closed my eyes and pinched the bridge of my nose. "You know what, Dad? I'm done being the guy who works 60 hours a week, so everyone else can play pretend. I'm done being your safety net. We never asked for it." "That's nonsense," I retorted. "You expected it. You think because I never complained I'm okay with it? Well, here's the truth, I'm not. I haven't been for a long time." Silence, then softly. "Son, it's Christmas Eve, and I'm spending it alone in a motel next to a gas station because you needed Troy's fiancé to feel welcome more than you needed your son at the table." Dad didn't speak again. So, I ended the conversation. And that was the last I heard from him for 4 days. I hadn't planned to return. Not after everything they did. Not after what they haven't done. But Troy contacted me 3 days after Christmas. His number appeared on my screen, and my immediate reaction was to ignore it, but curiosity is a nasty thing. I answered. "What?" There was hesitation then. "Hey man. So weird question. Did you cancel the family support transfers?" I slumped back in my chair. "Yeah." "You didn't tell anyone?" "Wasn't required." "Okay," he replied hesitantly. "Well, things are kind of tight. The January mortgage bounce. I'm aware." Silence. Then, in the softest, most deceptive voice I'd ever heard him use, "Maybe we could talk?" I laughed hard. "Oh, now you want to talk? What changed, Troy?" Ran out of sticky notes. "It was just a seat, bro number. It was a message. You and Mom made that pretty clear." I hung up. 5 minutes later, Mom texted. "Mom, could we meet for coffee, please?" "It's not as you think." I didn't respond because I knew what was coming. Dad called that night. I let it ring. He left a voicemail. "I think we need to talk face to face. Sunday dinner." I glanced at the phone, my heart pounding. Sunday supper. My old ritual. Pot roast. Apple pie. Everyone pretending they weren't quietly draining me dry. Something inside me shouted, "Go," but not to reconcile. To end it. I showed up on Sunday evening, knocked once, and let myself in as I always did. The house was clean, suspiciously clean, as if they were staging a peace treaty. Mom walked out first, wearing an apron. "You came," she remarked, smiling as if we hadn't forgotten each other over Christmas. Dad was in the armchair, holding his reading glasses, as if he wanted to appear busy. Troy and his fiancée sat on the couch. She refused to look at me, most likely because she was embarrassed. "Good. Dinner's almost ready," Mom remarked. "No need," I replied. "I'm not here to eat." Everyone froze. "I'm here for one reason. To say some things I should have said years ago." "Sweetheart," Mom said. "No," I interrupted. "You don't get to sweetheart me. Not after what you pulled." "It was just a sticky note." "You think this is about that chair?" I laughed. That was the final straw. The rest is 20 years of you all treating me as just the dependable one. Never seen as a person. Only as a solution. Troy scoffed. "Dude, you're being dramatic again. Don't. Just don't." I turned to face Dad. "You let it happen. You watched me work overtime, pay your bills, cancel my vacations, while you threw parties for this fool when he remembered to tie his shoes. You let him sit in my seat and ask me for money in the same breath. And the worst part? You all thought I'd just keep doing it." Dad stood slowly. "We never asked you to." "Exactly. You expected it because I never said no." Troy leaned forward. "You were always the one with money. You don't even have kids. It wasn't a big deal." I turned to face him, fury in my chest. "You know what is a big deal? Working 60 hours a week so Mom can have cable and you can plan a rustic vineyard wedding for your Tinder match. I was good enough to pay for your therapy, but not good enough to sit down at the dinner table." "Got it." Mom looked like she was going to cry. "We didn't mean to hurt you. You didn't mean anything. That's the problem. You never thought, not about me, only about what I could provide. The room was silent. I then removed the envelope from my jacket and tossed it on the table. What's this? Dad inquired. Your taxes. I won't be doing them this year. You'll need a new CPA. Wait, what? Mom asked, bewildered. I transferred the car lease back to your name, canceled the insurance, and you have 60 days before the health coverage under my name expires. Oh, and Troy. He looked up, puzzled. That wedding fund you asked about? Spend it on chairs, because I'm not coming. You're not serious, Mom exclaimed. Oh, I'm absolutely serious. You made room for someone else. I'm choosing to make space for myself now. I walked out. They didn't follow me. They didn't stop me. This time, they knew. When I left that house, I was expecting silence. What I didn't expect was how peaceful the silence would feel. The kind of silence that shields you like armor. There's no buzzing phone. There are no guilt-laden requests. No more, can you just help out this one time, which usually escalated into a dozen. Just silence. On Monday, I entered my office with a smile that surprised the receptionist. Did you win the lottery? She inquired. I laughed. Kind of. I didn't explain, but that was the first day in years that I drank my coffee hot, ate lunch without checking my bank balance after transferring someone a rent payment, and slept through the night without receiving a text from Troy saying, Bro, can you help out just until Friday? By Wednesday, the texts had started. Mom, honey, your father's upset. He suggests we should chat. Please come this weekend. Ignored. Then Troy. Troy. Hey man, Dad says you canceled their dental insurance? That's not right. Troy. Do you still have the login to your Hulu account? We can't get in. I blocked him. Then Dad called. I didn't respond. He left a message that began calmly and concluded as a threat. I just don't understand how you can abandon your family like this after everything we've done for you. I laughed so hard I almost dropped my phone. After all they'd done for me? You mean like giving my chair to a stranger? Like accepting every financial bailout I offered while still treating me like a troublesome child whenever I established a boundary? This time, they expected me to cave, feel terrible, and return as I always did. Instead, I made things worse for them. I thrived. I signed up for a 2-week photography retreat in Oregon, something I'd always wanted to do but couldn't afford because I was always paying other people's bills. I rejoined my gym, took long walks. I deleted the family group chat. I blocked my sister after she added me back. I went out for drinks with a few coworkers and, for the first time, didn't lie about why I was constantly exhausted. I stated the truth. My family is a financial black hole, and I finally cut the cord. One guy raised his glass. Respect. That word meant something different now. Respect wasn't about not causing trouble. It was about saying, enough. Then came the call. 9:04 p.m. exactly 2 weeks after the Christmas Eve disaster. I almost didn't respond. The number was blocked, but something prompted me to swipe. Hello. The voice on the other end was quiet. Hey, it's Dad. He sounded older, tired. Okay. I'm at the hospital, he explained. I sat upright. What happened? Your mother collapsed in the kitchen. Dehydration, stress. Doctor says it's nothing fatal, but she's shaken, and she's been crying, asking for you. I said nothing. You've made your point, he added, loud and clear. But maybe now you can stop punishing us. My blood boiled. Punishing you? You think I'm punishing you because I stopped being your ATM? I'm just saying your mom. My mom let me walk out of Christmas dinner like a ghost. Don't drag her tears into this now. Silence. Finally, quietly, she told me about the chair. Said it was her idea. She thought Troy's fiancé would feel awkward otherwise. And it never occurred to anyone that I might feel unwelcome. We didn't mean it that way. That's the problem. You never mean it that way. But it's always the same story. I give, you take. Another lapse in stillness. Then he whispered, I miss you, son. Something twisted inside my chest. Not in pain. No regrets, just clarification. I miss who you used to be too, I replied. Before you traded me for convenience. So I hung up. Days passed. Then I received a message that wasn't from Troy. From her. Troy's fiancée, the girl who occupied my seat. Text, hey. I understand you probably don't want to hear from me, but I just wanted to say I did not know. Pause. Another message. Text. Your mother told me you'd be late. You said you wouldn't stay long. I only learned what happened after you departed. If I had known, I would not have taken your chair. And here's the kicker. Text. Troy told me you were wealthy, that you'd be okay standing, that you don't care about family matters anyway. I'm so sorry. For a little while I was unsure how to feel, but the truth struck like a punch. He was aware of my impending arrival. He instructed her to take my chair. He knew exactly what it would do, and he wanted it. Troy had always disliked what I represented: responsibility, success, and consequences. He was the turmoil they cherished. I was the anchor they relied on and resented. Well, not anymore. The next week, my parents sent me an official email. Subject: Resolution Proposal. A PDF document containing budgets, timelines, and independence plans was included. It read like a business pitch, a desperate one. They were trying to show that they could manage without me, begging for a second chance, requesting 3 additional months of transitional support before proceeding with full financial separation. I stared at the figures, then selected delete. By March, the calls had stopped. By April, I had stopped using all shared accounts. By May, I'd arranged a solo trip to Barcelona. And sometime between the plane ride and the first taste of tapas, I discovered something I'd never believed before. I didn't need them. Not like they had made me believe, not to define myself, not to validate me, and definitely not to control me. Barcelona was quite loud. It wasn't the traffic, the crowds, or even the festivals. It was the way the world seemed louder when you stepped out of someone else's shadow. I went into the Gothic quarter with my phone in airplane mode. No family group conversations. No texts from Troy. No, just one more, bro. Just the sound of my feet on ancient cobblestones and the exhilaration of silence, earned rather than given. Every night, I viewed the sunset from a different part of the city. On the 4th night, a stranger approached my table at a rooftop pub and wanted to join. She had wild hair and eyes that didn't apologize for staring right through you. We spent hours talking about everything and nothing. She wanted to know where I was from. I corrected myself. Used to be a family man. Now I'm just a man. She laughed. Sounds like freedom. I nodded. Finally, back home, life continued as usual. I was promoted to lead systems architect. People competed for this job since it allowed them to meet with board members and provide feedback on corporate direction. My manager informed me, "You've been under the radar too long. People are starting to notice." That hit me differently. For years, I was the man who discreetly kept things together at work, home, and everywhere else. People needed more than just me. They respected me. For the first time in my life, I didn't feel like a mere utility. In June, something unexpected appeared at my door. A wedding invitation. Troy. With his fiancée, Rustic Vineyard. July 16th. RSVP deadline is June 30th. I placed it on the kitchen counter. Allowed it to sit there like an exam I already knew the answer to. The envelope was cream, thick stock, expensive. Inside, next to the RSVP card, was a handwritten note from her. "I hope you will come. He still doesn't realize what he did, and I believe part of him is afraid to confess it. You are correct to walk away, but perhaps he needs to see you stand firm in person." I stared at the note for a long time, then threw it in the trash. On July 16th, the day of the wedding, I spent it at a beach in Santa Cruz, riding a rented bike along the cliffs and allowing the sea wind to refresh me. I didn't check my phone until after sunset. 1 missed call. Mom. 1 message. Mom. He kept glancing at the door all night, as if he were waiting for you. I stared at it, didn't respond. Not that I wanted to punish him, but I'd had enough of playing savior for individuals who never reserved a seat for me. August provided a surprise. I ran into Troy's fiancée, now wife, at a bookstore. She appeared thinner, paler, like someone straining too hard to smile through shattered glass. She noticed me, froze, and walked over. "I didn't expect to see you," she admitted. "I live here," I answered. She paused. "Then we moved back in with your parents." "Of course they did. They offered," she replied swiftly. "Said it was just temporary. Troy's job didn't pan out. He's still figuring things out. It always is." She gazed down at her hands. "He's not handling things well. Not my problem." Then she looked up, her eyes circled with red. "I know. I wish she were his brother." That stuck with me longer than I anticipated. Not that I felt sorry for him. However, for the first time, someone noticed it. I did not respond, just nodded. Then I walked out with my book. September. My birthday. I hadn't expected anything. I wasn't waiting for it. But shortly before noon, a delivery arrived. There was no return address. Inside was a basic black box, a folded card, a single line. "You were right about everything. I'm sorry." Inside was the whiskey I packed for Christmas Eve, still sealed. They had never opened it. I sat there, staring at the bottle. Then I got up, strolled to my balcony, and opened it myself. Poured a glass to no one except me. By November, I had sold my condominium and relocated out of state. New location, larger windows, new furnishings, no ghosts. The final step. I changed my phone number. I deleted the old backups. We've burned the last bridge. But before I did, I penned a message. I copied it. I sent it to Mom, Dad, and Troy. Same message. There's no room for negotiation. This is the final communication you will receive from me. I am not angry. I'm just finished. I've given you everything I have for years. Time, money, love, and patience. You used it, I spent it, and called it normal. Then you left me standing. Literally. I'm not standing anymore. I am walking away for good. No hard feelings, just rigid boundaries.
Goodbye.
I finally let go. Peacefully. And now for the most important part. I do not miss them. Not the guilt, not the manipulation, not the awkward silences that followed each no I dared to express. Not the invisible weight of being the family support beam as they constructed castles on my back. I miss the person I used to be around them. The guy who mistakenly believed that being needed meant being loved. He's gone now. Someone more powerful has taken his place. Smarter. Freer. So maybe I missed Christmas supper. Perhaps I stood outside a house I had paid for with a present that no one desired. But walking away, that was the best gift I ever gave myself. And this is the last gift I will ever offer.